Hey guys, welcome back to D&D. Just a quick recap of the last episode. The party returned to the town of Red Larch, took a look around, entered the tavern, heard that there was a missing delegation, as well as bandit trouble to the south and potentially supernatural events of some sort to the northeast, the same direction where the delegation disappeared. Thaddeus attempted to anger everyone in the town by shaking information out of them physically, and didn't come back with much. But we of the party has decided that it may be wise to leave town for a few days and give the constable in particular time to cool down. So we have hatched a brilliant plan: wander into the hills and see where the lightning strikes, who it strikes perhaps, and that's where we're headed. So let's pick it up there.
I don't know that you should lay all that at my feet.
No, it's fine. Thaddeus was just being himself. That's fine.
Yep. All right.
Okay, but
all right.
to the Somber Hills though.
What direction? Like, what do you want to do?
We want to head
path
northeast.
That leads in up through the hills.
Yep.
Yeah.
Are you just going to follow that path until you kind of come out?
Yep.
Towards the Stone Bridge. Is that the kind of direction you're going, or are you going to be heading to the east, like you say, towards Beliard? Or
I think we want to head northeast into the hills, and I think our goal is to start up into the hills and try to get a little bit of progress before dark, and then as it starts getting a little bit later, start looking for a place to camp. But we want to be away from the town enough that we have a chance at catching any of this fell lightning or anything else, other weird natural effects or supernatural effects that are occurring out here, particularly at night when we have a bit of an advantage just spotting them at long range.
Okay.
For sure, let's just go follow the path until we get more towards the center of it. We will probably adjust once we're in the center of it, but for now, it's just get to the center of it.
What time do you want to be stopping to rest?
What time? It's summer. What time does it get dark? You have to make it up.
7.
Okay.
Maybe 8. It starts to get a bit, it's
gloomy,
a bit shaded. Yeah, gloomy. And then about 9 is where it's got to start getting seriously dark. 10 o'clock.
All right. Well, let's say if we get 3 hours out of town, set up camp, and then put some effort into the evening to not just like sit and watch around camp, but actually actively looking around at night with that benefit. Maybe we go that route. So travel for like.
Are you traveling at a slow pace on your horse or a fast pace?
Fairly. We'd like to make some distance, so I guess a fairly fast pace. At least initially. Once we start getting into the hills a little bit, we're going to slow down and start paying attention because we're looking for signs about the delegation, but we want to get out of the town.
Okay, so I would say that's probably going to give you about 8 miles per hour on your horses if you're at fast distance.
Okay.
Sure. Maybe 6, depending on your terrain. Maybe 5, going up into the further in the hills. That's at a fast pace, though. That's gonna exhaust your horses quite quickly.
Did I hear you right that we're gonna do only maybe the first hour to fast pace and then slow down? So a third of the journey fast just to get away from town and then slow down.
As we start getting into the hills, I didn't put an hour destination on it because I'm not sure how long it would take this to get into where we start seeing the hills. But once we start getting to the foothills of this stuff to the east, then yeah, I'd like to slow down a little bit.
Yeah, looking at the overland map. Sorry, go ahead.
To lead the expedition in terms of like not getting lost.
I am in charge of us not getting lost. I don't get lost as my background.
Okay, perfect.
There's a path we're following, right?
Hang on a minute. What did you say?
I have excellent
Don't
memory
get
for
lost.
maps and geography and can always recall the general layout of terrain, settlements, and other features around me. And I can find us food and fresh water every day, if you'd like.
We're following a path.
Yeah, that makes that easier. He doesn't get lost on the path.
All right.
Okay, perfect. All right. So
you
who's got the coconuts?
set off, and you're basically nothing gets in your way. You don't get attacked. You don't meet anything on the way until you get sort of up here. Just reveal that.
Okay.
There we go.
Right.
Can you see this road leading in?
That's how far we get in 3 hours? Okay, cool.
So let's see. That's going to be 4, 8, 12, 20. So you're probably about here, I would say.
Okay.
It's getting close to now, like 7 to 8 p.m. So it's starting to get a little bit darker, but not too bad.
And have we seen any of this like weird weather type stuff?
So the hills themselves are very, this path seems to be the only like main way to get through the hills easily. There's lots of smaller trails, but they're very rocky, very difficult terrain, and you guys haven't really come off the path or anything or investigate anything like that. They're also very tall, so unless you sort of went in and maybe tried to find things within these hills, you're not really seeing anything out of the ordinary. You're just sort of riding along at your fast pace, and you slow down as you get into the hills and it gets harder to ride. You don't really see anything necessarily out of the ordinary. If you could roll survival, Stephen, just to sort of see how, like, you don't get lost, but you might, not exactly know exactly where you're going all the time.
Yeah, Tim.
Yeah, you're doing fine. 16's fine.
I've got survival also.
Okay,
Oops, probably not at advantage. I don't.
that's fine. Yeah. Okay, so what do you guys want to do? Do you want to keep riding now it's starting to get a bit dark, or what?
I think we're looking for a place to camp, right?
Sure.
Yeah, I think this is a good place.
Okay, we'll look for a place to camp if we can.
Okay. Are you looking for anything specific, like defensible, or just like an area that's a way out of the way?
I think the latter. I don't think we're...
Sure, you can definitely find like an alcove settled in a nestle of, sort of larger hills and smaller outcroppings.
Perfect. We'll tie up the horses and greyhound. Does the greyhound graze like horses?
It's a Great Dane. It's not a Greyhound.
Oh, sorry. A Great Dane. My bad.
I presume Sniven feeds it like meat or something.
Yes. Bag of wheat.
All right.
Bag of wheat. I like it.
So, I think we should spend the evening having a look around, unless anyone else has any other ideas. Shall we split up?
Set up camp and then look around for sure.
All right.
If anybody has like a little bit better climbing and high ground options, that would be lovely.
Yeah, that would be.
Because I'm not much of a climber, but I'm willing to wander around in some of these defiles and have a look about.
I could probably take a look up there.
Yep.
Yeah, sounds good, Tim. You could probably find whatever's interesting out here, right?
Yep.
Before you go, should we have a call of some sort, a bleat on a horn, a raucous noise to attract our companions?
Yeah.
Just scream like you're dying, and we'll know what it means.
Well, yeah, I think anything that gets me good is going to make a pretty big noise. You'll probably hear.
Oh man.
Scream like I'm dying. Lovely.
That's the plan. Oh man, we're good at planning. All right.
I mean,
Do we?
I'm
Really...
up for other suggestions.
I kind of like Thaddeus' idea. Maybe we hike as a group up the side of off the path a bit, up this cliff face around us, and see if we can get some elevation.
It's funny you mentioned it, actually. I didn't bring it up earlier, but I do play a mean tambourine, and I don't know if maybe that could do it.
If I think we're being attacked by gypsies, I will run to your side.
I could totally picture Tim running from like a bear or something with a tambourine going, "Oh God! Oh God!"
All right. So I guess we're gonna try scramble, climb, hike up the side of the area near our camp.
Okay.
We're looking for elevation.
Right. How, in terms of like a radius away from your camp, how far away are you going to make? But bear in mind that these, just so that I have a frame of reference to it, these hexes are 4 miles each. So like how far away from the camp are you going to go? How high do you want to go up? You know what I mean? Like you could go 3 miles away and be on a really tall hill, but that's quite far from your camp kind of thing, and your horses. What do you want to do?
Well, I guess distance isn't so important because what we're actually trying to do is elevation to see light at a far range, right? and that's nothing to do with us like getting closer to it, as everything to do with our line of sight. So I think we are trying to get above everything so we can see stuff, but not necessarily
You're just trying to find
super
like
far from us.
the highest local point near to you.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
And if it's more than a half hour from camp, we should maybe move camp closer.
Yeah, I mean, camp at the moment is 3 horses and a dog, so
Right,
they're pretty
right.
mobile.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
If all of a sudden we decide that, holy crap, you've been hiking for a half hour, we might want to bring the animals closer rather than leave them down a long way from where we can hear them, see them, protect them.
Okay.
Okay, so you guys make your way up onto the top of a medium-sized hill nearby to where you've camped. It's probably about a 10-minute hike to get to the top. What do you want to do?
Tim, can you maybe look around, see if you can't find some unusual tracks of some kind? Because right now it sort of feels like we're just kind of looking for a needle in a haystack out here.
So you'd like me to look for unusual tracks in the haystack?
Yes.
Yeah.
How big do you think the hills are, mate?
Well, I don't know.
So, Mr. Tracker, tell me how this usually goes when you decide to track. You go find an animal and then track it once you've already found it?
Look, I don't care too much what I kill. Monster and person sometimes. It's all in good fun. It's an accident. Whoops. But we're looking for a specific delegation right now, and I can't just magically make their tracks be within 500 feet of our camp. It's not how it works. This is a process. This is a day-by-day sort of thing. It's a struggle. You've got to earn it. All right?
I'm gonna, as you say that, I'm just gonna make I'd like to just look around and see if I spot any tracks at our current location.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You can make a perception for that.
Okay.
I've got a lovely passive perception if I happen to wander across something useful.
There you go.
You're kind of just distracted by the conversation in front of you, really, and you just can't really make out. Like, you're trying to have a look, but you can't really see much.
At some point, I realized that the track I thought I was tracking, I thought I saw like the little hint to something, and I realized I was tracking Tim, who I was walking behind.
Yeah, right.
It seems a little awkward. Okay, but we have line of sight up here. Then it's like top of a hill or something similar.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then I'll say, well, you guys can keep discussing strategy. Certainly, we should have some strategy, but mostly I just want some view around here. Keep an eye out. I mean, some of the things they're suggesting we just have to happen into, like random winds or fogs or shit like that. Maybe we'll spot fogs in the morning, but lightning we should be able to see from a distance. So I'm going to just stay here for a little bit and certainly keep happy to brainstorm, but I just want to be here and be somewhere where I can see for a while and give it a couple hours. So
You don't need 4 of us to look around. I think I'm returning to camp now that you're here safely and making sure the animals are okay.
all right. Maybe we split into 2 groups of 2 then.
Sorry, could you repeat that, Kevin? What did you say?
I'm gonna just head back to camp. You don't need 4 of us to stand on this hill and look around in circles. If there's something weird, it's probably not going to be on top of us, and so they can do the lookout for weird stuff, and I'm going to go back to the camp and make sure the animals are okay and that we are actually prepared for night.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll head back with them. Make sure the big softy's all right.
Okay, well, Sniven's going to stay on the hill looking for lightning then.
Okay.
Fast forward 4 hours. Do we see any lightning?
I'm just shocked that the person who's like the tracker and the keen eyes was like, "Yep, I'm off to camp. See you later."
I know.
Need me to find the lightning?
It's not you he's talking
Guys.
about. You're not the guy. You're an int-based character. You're not a wisdom-based character. You don't have the good skills in this. I don't know what you're talking about. He's talking about Thaddeus.
No, he's talking about
Right.
me.
Yeah.
Okay, so 4 hours. Okay.
We basically
So-
don't have a particularly good tracker.
Yeah, I know.
because he is a wizard.
Especially one of our trackers refuses to look for tracks.
You don't really
It's fine.
notice anything
No.
out of ordinary. You see, occasionally in the distance you can see a very large flying monster, or creature, not monster, sorry, wrong term. You see like a large soaring creature, occasionally like maybe the size of like a griffin or a manticore or something, very far in the distance, but it's just the kind of thing that you're used to seeing, stuff like that. It's not like a dragon, but it's like it's a thing that you're aware of that could be in these hills. Maybe it's got a nest somewhere, but nothing that's like meaningful to what you're trying to find out, I guess.
Okay. I'm happy actually to stay up here for a while. I think it's we're chasing shadows anyways. That it might just take time and exposure to run into something. So I'm happy to stay up here.
Okay. How long do you stay up there?
I guess I'm not entirely sure. Do we want to take it? Should we at some point? I mean, it's a 10-minute walk, and we can all see in the dark. So I guess how dark is dark right now?
Well, now if you've waited 4 hours, it's now midnight.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be like pitch black. But I guess most of you have dark vision. All of you
All
have
of
dark
us.
vision. So I guess to you everything's just fine. But it's grayscale, right? Is that how it is? I think.
Mm-hmm.
Not for me. I have double sight, so I have it's color for me, but everybody else it is.
Oh, aren't you fancy?
Yeah.
Oh, because of the drow thing, right? Okay.
It's a warlock thing.
Oh,
Okay.
I'll link it for you if you like.
So
I
I guess
believe you.
it's up to you really in terms of.
So after 4 hours, assuming that Thaddeus and I have started long resting, have we? Or are we just sitting at camp? What are we doing?
to long rest, it's like 2 hours of being awake and.
Like,
Oh, I guess it's different for you since you're a high.
Yeah,
elf.
I trance, and 4 hours is enough for me to trance. So
Right,
if I just can spend those 4 hours trancing, I could walk back up to the hill and take over for someone.
Okay, so how about Thaddeus just chills out for 4 hours and you trance, and then you're done, and then you're the lookout for the rest of the night. How about that?
Sure.
Okay.
okay. So what time would the rest of you be getting up at? You'd have 8 hours for a long rest, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So Tim's going to stay up there for 8 hours?
Are you guys okay with me being 10 minutes away, or do you need me watching over the camp?
I think I don't know. I think we want to take sights on this. I guess 4 hours up there probably is enough for that. I guess we can just come back to camp. I'm not sure we're going to spot anything else. I think we'll just come back to camp. Okay.
I think we'll be able to tell if there's lightning too. Like, I'm awake now. If I see lightning going off in the sky, I'll walk up high and see where it is.
Okay. Sounds good.
So
Okay.
you stay up there for 4 hours?
So we stayed up there till midnight. We came down. We'll split the night into watches so that everybody gets a chance to get rest.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So
you're
what does Tim do? Does Tim go up to keep watch again, or
No.
does he stay in the
He's-
camp?
No, he just
I-
watches. He just watches at camp.
Yeah, I
Okay,
watch at
that's
camp.
fine.
And if
That
somebody
works
else
as well.
is taking watch, I might walk up the hill to practice my tambourine, just out of earshot.
So the 4 hours you guys are up on top of the hill, does that count as rest? And when you came down the hill, you would continue another 4 hours of it?
I don't think the rules.
It's sloppy, but basically you need 6 hours of sleep, and 2 hours can be extra rest of doing, like, taking watch or whatever. So let's just say there was the 4 hours, and we come down after the 4 hours, and then 6 hours later, all the shenanigans are done, and Tim was was on watch for those extra 6 hours. Cool?
Yep.
Okay.
Tim, Stephen, can you roll perception for me? Okay, and then another time as well.
You're sitting on a bear.
Maybe the bear should roll my dice.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Sorry.
You get 2 more.
2 more? All right.
I'm doing one for sort of each hour against my check as well. So, okay.
You realize it's a bear. You're quite disturbed.
For the first 2 hours of your shift, the fog seems to sort of roll in. This is kind of normal because it's quite nighttime, and it's not very clear, and you just kind of aren't feeling it, and you're quite distracted. You may be looking around, you see a bear, or you see some of the wildlife locally. In the third hour, the sky sort of begins to clear up, and in the distance to the south, you could swear that for a second you may have seen almost like a flying formation of creatures headed towards something. Like it didn't look like a normal random animal. It looked like there was some direction and an intent in the path of these flying things.
Like bird-sized or griffin-sized or
Like
dragon-sized?
Probably hard to tell
griffin-sized
at night.
maybe. You can't really tell
Hard
because
to
you
tell.
don't really understand how far away they are from you, and their size isn't like perceptible to you.
Yeah.
But they're big enough
Looks
that
like
you can
they're-
see them.
Looks like they're over the hills still, right?
Yeah, you'd estimate maybe between 5 to 10 miles south of you.
Okay.
And then after that, it's just normal. You don't really spot anything else. It's a normal night until everyone sort of wakes up.
Okay. So do we recover long rest resources? Is that kind of long rest for everybody?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Are you gonna tell us about that exciting thing there?
Is anybody gonna ask?
No.
Does anybody care what my night was like? You enjoy your sleep?
Good morning, Tim.
Sleeps?
How was your night?
Oh, it was great. I saw the coolest thing. Just this big formation of flying. I reckon they were griffins. Something big like that. Just the south of us, just flying around. Majestic creatures. Hides go for a lot. Quite valuable.
Which direction were they headed?
Looked like they were going south.
Toward Red Larch?
Oh, I think
no,
Red Larch is
definitely
southwest,
south
eh?
from you. Like almost like they were flying. It's almost as if they were flying away from you towards something in the south.
So not
Looked
across
like-
the city.
Looked like they might have been scared of me, to be honest.
Was there any lightning?
No lightning.
God damn it.
Any fog? We look around. I look around. Is there fog this morning?
Oh, there was a bit of fog. Yep.
You can see like the standard sort of thing you'd get on maybe some nearby dew and grass, but
I complain loudly about farmers. Superstitious farmers.
Well, it's right, the common people, they do have their beliefs.
No. Well, should we continue along this road? See if we can spot any sense
Yes.
of this delegation? Or
Yes,
Okay.
definitely.
All right, well, let's get moving.
Why is it so hard to find evil when you want it?
My thoughts exactly.
All right.
okay. So you continue up the road.
Yep.
Okay.
Standard pace, no grueling pace. Since we're kind of trying to look around at the same time.
Okay. So let's have a look. It's 8 a.m. We continue up the road. Let me open that. And you come up crossroads. So about, I don't know, I guess, what's that going to be? Maybe 2 or 3 hours. You make your way up here. It's an easier trail than the last one. And you come to a crossroads.
Oh, bloody hell, they've taken the wrong path, haven't they? They've just gone the wrong way.
God damn it. Maybe.
Maybe there's a cat that needs saving in a tree nearby, too. No?
Are you drunk? What are you talking about?
Sorry, just feeling a bit lightheaded. My vote's for taking the path. Let's take this fork, head east.
Yeah, I think so
We're
too.
going- Do we see any sort of signs that a large procession of animals might have gone through this junction recently?
Not really, no.
Okay.
You guys are, you sort of remember that the delegation definitely didn't come this way. It came from Westbridge and went down to... Oh, I guess you're sort of saying, did they come south into this trail? And is there any...
I thought they went to Balliard and then they came back through the Somber Hills to Red Larch.
Okay, so
But
the
not what they did.
information you heard was that they were going to head into the Summer Hills. Now, the Summer Hills is like, it's not just that set of hills you see there. It's kind of an area that's
Okay.
like this big.
Okay. So we just don't have enough of that revealed yet.
So it could be they headed south from Belliard. They were supposed to go Westbridge, Belliard, and then into the hills, which makes more sense that they headed south from Belliard, not that they backtracked and came into the Sunber Hills, which means heading east now would perhaps intercept that path.
That's my thought too.
So we're the ones who are taking the wrong path and getting killed. All right.
All right.
Right.
Okay, so you go south?
Yep.
Okay, so you continue
east.
for another, I guess, 2 hours or so, and you make it to what looks like almost like a valley or a small ravine that leads. You can see ahead of it is a very long trail, but there's an impassable. It's almost like a landslide or a cave in has come down, and you can't really make it any further south. To your
Like the
east,
whole trail is wiped out?
it's just like it's almost as if one of the larger hills is just something's caved away and it's just fallen in, and it's now just you can't basically get past that way.
Okay.
Off to your east, you're quite high up now, and you can kind of see there's a bending, winding river. I'll just see if I can reveal a bit of it for you. Oh God. Sort of there. But that's probably, I don't know, 100, 200 foot down, 300 foot down, depending on, which bit of the elevation you're at.
So we've come to basically a dead end then. So to their east is a river with no passage across it. To our south is a washed out road.
I mean, you could feasibly, if you wanted to be quite persistent, maybe try and move down into the sort of the valley where the river is, but it's going to be very difficult. You probably wouldn't be able to take your horses. You're going to have to be like going through very difficult terrain, climbing up and down hills, etc. So yeah, it seems like it's a dead end.
So I want to double check: is the road that is washed out one that goes toward the river or elsewhere?
South.
South.
All
Which
right.
looks like it's nowhere near the road south of Belliard,
this
which
way.
is where we expect the emissaries to be. So it looks like this is just dead end. So we should just head back up to Belliard and then just go south, went past Belliard.
I don't want to meet the constable of Belliard.
We don't have to stop in there. We could just
There's a small
run through.
cat following the party.
There's a what?
What?
A small cat.
Okay.
It stays very close to Tim.
Ah, yeah, Mr. Nibbles. There you are.
What?
Mr. Nibbles.
This is Mr. Nibbles, guys. meet Snivster and Colty, and he's Thad. Don't worry, he doesn't bite too much.
All right, we're in shock.
Hello, Mr. Snibbles.
Yeah, Mr. Nibbles, like the teeth.
Oh, okay. Hello, Mr. Nibbles.
Pleased to meet you, Mr. Nibbles.
Okay, well, that's interesting.
Familiar
Let's
talk?
continue.
No, familiars cannot talk.
No.
Not
They
to us.
talk telepathically, don't they? Okay.
To me.
Okay, just a second. The sort of washed up path. Can Steven get any sort of gauge on how recently this became impassable? Was it like in the last day, as in someone might have been able to go there yesterday?
It looks like a natural. It's like a natural disaster that's happened, and you'd probably say within the last maybe day or two. But you haven't seen anything like this anywhere else. Like all the hills seem very, like, for want of a better term, sturdy. They've been here a long time. It's not likely that this avalanche is. I guess it feels unnatural in its design.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, let's do a little bit.
You can see the road you've been on is a heavy trail, and it's used a lot. So it doesn't make sense that this trail comes to this dead end in such a way, because it would have been used so frequently, and it doesn't make sense why that road is covered up, and whether it was a sinister act or whether it's something to do with this crazy weather you've heard about, you wouldn't know.
So if we were to try and attempt to bypass this road blockage, like what?
You'd be climbing up like a very large hill, almost like a mountainside, I guess.
Too steep for the horses or not?
Yeah. You could
just
maybe
like to-
do it on foot.
Well,
Can I yell really loud?
Okay.
Does anybody hear
What would you
me?
like to say?
Sort of thing.
What do
Anybody
you
out
use
there?
I face palm. I think.
Yeah, nothing happens.
All right. There are dice
How?
rolls.
If one person wanted to like climb up to the top of this road blockage to like look over it, roughly how long could we guesstimate that it would take for someone to climb up to the top?
Well, it's like a sheer face. The-
Oh, okay.
Your
So it's
point?
not like a pile of rubble. It's more of like a giant boulder was suddenly like placed there almost.
Can I walk up and just poke it with my finger for a second?
How tall is it?
Sure. Maybe 100 foot.
Damn.
It's almost like you're in a valley, like a ravine, and something has like loads of earth and rocks and rubble. Well, not rubble, I guess, because that would indicate a building, but just general, stuff has fallen into this area or been put into this area. And when you touch it, Filthy, you feel the dirt and you feel that it's almost like warm.
The dirt's warm.
Yeah.
Like unnaturally warm relative to the rest of the surrounding.
Yeah, because it's quite a cold, breezy day, and your hand, it's not like, boiling, but it's just like maybe tepid or slightly heated, maybe.
Anyone have any sense of why this would be warm?
Hey, Dwarf, you want to go give it a look?
I was thinking that I might attempt to climb this thing and look for any abnormalities. I know dirt and stonework better than anyone.
Well, do
Sounds like a plan.
you think maybe? Well, yeah, but maybe another option first, which is, did this come down or did it erupt out? Is this clearly a slide down? Because this is as tall as the hills around it. It's 100 foot tall. Like, this is kind of.
Where would it have slid from?
Yeah, so maybe it's come from beneath, and that might explain the heat, that if this is somehow from the inner earth of that, maybe you could have a look around, or we could have a look around. There might be a passage through this under it, as opposed to over it.
So I'm wondering whether my stonework knowledge, related to the origin of stonework, it says.
This is not really stonework, though, is it?
Well, I don't know. It's beginning to sound like it's not natural and therefore crafted in some way.
Is it magical? Do we know? Any residue of magic in it?
You'd have to use something to check that.
Detect magic as a ritual, which I cannot
Can
do.
you-
I can do that.
Well,
Okay.
So
you spend
explain
10
a
minutes.
ritual to me. Does that...
this is how I bring that up to you. I approached Mr. Nibbles and I say, wouldn't it be helpful if someone would able to detect magic around here? And I pet his head and rubbed it under his chin, and I say, like, some sort of magical detection ritual. And I'm just in earshot of Tim.
Basically, you just have to cast for 10 minutes straight, and then it takes.
Does that cost me a spell slot?
No, that's the good part
that's
about
the
rituals.
good thing about it.
Okay, cool. I
Okay.
detected a ritual. Oh, does that mean Find
Sometimes-
Familiar doesn't cost me a spell slot then?
That's correct.
Yeah.
The last time I played a wizard, I did not play it this way. In 5th edition.
Must have been frustrating to never be able to use your utility spells.
Yeah, I don't know.
You see the same auras you saw earlier around everyone in terms of their equipment. There's a strange addition to Chakolth in his aura.
Yeah, I know.
It's kind of yellow in its sort of color, whereas usually the auras of the weapons are kind of sort of a blue or a green, maybe. In terms of looking around you, underneath you, at the dirt and earth itself, You don't really see anything or detect anything magical about it. You can sort of feel trace magical elements further away from you, maybe higher up at the top of the ravine, but you're quite far away. You know, it's about 100 foot, so you can't quite get anything concrete from that. You can just kind of feel faint traces, maybe maybe magic's happened nearby, or a magical creature was nearby.
So between my just innate dwarven understanding of stonework and my 19 passive perception, I don't get any clearer sense of what the hell happened here.
Well, maybe
You feel like something has. This isn't a natural occurrence. So either someone has done something to this, or something that isn't natural to this part of the land has happened and caused it.
Well, let's have a look around. There's a couple of things we could be looking for. Entrances to caves comes to mind. Any foot traffic around this area that suddenly disappears in weird locations might reveal hidden entrances or hidden paths. I mean, this is a pretty major road, and this is pretty recent. It feels like we'd heard of this, or someone would have heard of this, or someone would have started talking about clearing it. Let's just have a look around before we go any further.
Is there any reason I shouldn't climb it?
It's a 100-foot sheer face that would be hard to climb.
I say no, not at all. I'd love to see you climb it.
Only that you might die horribly. But other than that,
I'll give you a leg up, eh? Just come on over here. I'll give you a little boost, get you going.
Do you have like a grappling hook? Throw it up, throw it over the edge, maybe.
Well, 100-foot throw. That seems. I don't know.
Let's start on the ground, and if we get to that route, we can go that route. It's just it feels like it might be a bit challenging to get you up over this.
So no climbing?
I say climbing after we look around. Like right now,
Look around down here first.
This feels new to me, and it might not be as it seems. Let's inspect it some. Okay.
So let's just spend some time to look around, thoroughly investigating before climbing to see if we notice anything unusual.
I'm gonna cast Mage Armor as a ritual while they get going on that.
Mage Armor can't be a ritual.
All right.
Keep changing the rules.
Certain spells, certain spells have the ritual tag, and some don't, Steve. So only the
I'd
ones
like
with
to cast Mage Armor.
Okay.
Cool.
Sure. Roll investigation, I guess. Whoever's doing it.
I think all of us.
Yeah.
Is that perception or investigation?
Investigation, perception, whichever one you feel is better for your character. Your passive perception, sort of for you, Kevin, just to give you an idea, this is more of like the things that you would notice, like maybe out of the corner of your eye, or in terms of reflex, or like things that are out of place, like maybe invisibility or illusions. Active perception is where you are focusing and looking for a specific thing. So that's how it's going to make a difference.
All right. Okey-doke. So, perception.
Okay, so...
Oh,
You get advantage, though.
except I get advantage. There you go.
Yeah. So Sniven, Thaddeus, you guys are definitely getting a grasp of the area around you. Chakolth and Tim are kind of stood side by side, comparing very bad notes of the area, and like, yeah, there could definitely be a cave in there. If we just follow that trail, it's like pointing to the side of a mountain or something. But you two, you're definitely certain now that something unnatural has happened and caused this, maybe either a landslide or a cave in this ravine or something, but you don't know what it is. There's definitely no cave entrances, there's no secrets, there's no illusions. It's like something has blocked off this path, and without knowing more, you don't really know what's happened. Whether you want to climb up further or try and get a different path to the other side of it by going all the way around. These are the sort of things that you maybe draw to as conclusions.
I think I should climb it.
Yes, I agree.
Okay, how are we going to get a dwarf up 100-foot vertical drop?
Well, it's not like he has much further to go.
Excited.
Okay, so if he starts 3 foot lower, but he's still got to climb the other 97, or 94. It's not like it's not that big a deal.
Well, athletics is climbing sheer or slippery cliffs, avoiding hazards while scaling a wall. and
Right.
I
So
have
he
I have
just tries to climb it.
Yeah.
a fair amount of athletics.
Yeah.
Sure.
You're gonna wear that
I did
plate.
not take Featherfall.
What is it you want to use to maybe like hold your weight or help you get up this, or are you going to take any equipment off?
Anyone have one of the starting backpacks that have the, what do they call them? Pinions? Pinions? Whatever they're called?
Pins.
Yeah.
Pitons.
The pitons?
Yeah. Pitons. That's what I'm looking for. Thanks.
Pitons.
I have a disguise kit and 2 costumes.
Of course you do.
That's helpful.
I'd like to
Oh,
go
I do.
up this
I do.
hill.
I haven't. Okay.
Rest is a none.
I'll approach I'll approach Thaddeus and I'll hand him a hammer and 10 pitons. Pitons? I don't know how to say that word. I'm a climber too, but
It's just like pits.
Piton. It's French,
off.
right?
I'll hand those to Thaddeus and say this might help you on your way up. If you can knock some protection into the wall, perhaps we can follow. We have ropes. We could maybe get over. We'd have to leave the horses, but we could at least get to the top and have a look what's on the other side.
How about Thaddeus just tries to not die and get to the top?
That's what I've
And
given him this for.
Right. And whatever he sees, we'll decide what we do afterwards.
Too bad that cat doesn't have wings.
I've got a good throwing arm, if that helps.
Yes, I vote for that.
Okay. So what are you going to use to climb?
I'm
Depends
gonna leave my shield. I'm gonna strap my warhammer to my belt, and just take the pitons and the mallet and the little length of rope and sling them on me and start climbing. And once I'm a fair distance up, sink a piton in and attach a rope so that I don't have a death fall if I do fall.
Okay. If you want to make a strength, the pittance, and then maybe athletics, I guess, for climbing.
Yeah, athletics for climbing. You wanted other rolls too, or
He
just the
wanted strength
athletics?
for you to knock the safety gear in.
Oh, all right.
Because it is.
So that is.
Anyone have any way
That's-
to aid him on his way up?
How do I roll strength?
Sure.
That's as a saving throw?
Before he goes, Sniven will pull out his lute and say, "Brave, brave Thaddeus, don't fall to your death."
Is that inspired? Inspires me.
You'd roll a d20 plus 4. I guess plus 6, because you'd be proficient in it. Like maybe.
Oh, so I'm
Or plus
I
4,
see.
yes.
roll d20 plus 6 is what I'm doing?
I think so. That'd be your strength plus your proficiency, which I think you'd be proficient at smacking things with a hammer. That's kind of what you do on a day-to-day.
Right, there you go.
Perfect. Okay, and then athletics. So you definitely your gear is sturdy. It's in. You feel it's safe. You feel you can use it to hold your weight. And you start to climb.
Just a second. Thaddeus, I gave you a inspiration, so you have like a D6 roll that you could use for something. If you in between you rolling it and the results of it, is when you can use it or not. So, for example, you could add 1d6 to this.
Okay,
If you want to make sure you don't die.
So if I feel like I've maybe made a misstep, I can throw that on there before I get the answer whether I made a misstep.
Right.
All right. So how many of these do I have to do to get to where I need to be?
It's 1 every 10 foot, if I recall correctly.
Oh God.
What?
Well,
Climbing is fucking death trap in this game.
Yeah. So you'd have to do those checks 10 times.
Both of them?
Probably just the athletics, I'd say, because you've got the swinging arm. That's okay.
Give it a go.
This begins to seem like a horrible idea.
Give it a go.
We-
No, I've got
guess
you.
we'll
I've
do
got you. Come on, I'll catch you. Give it a go.
Wow.
Yeah.
I guess for the sake of the whole thing, we'll halve it and save 5 if you like,
All right.
just in terms of speeding things up.
It's
But
generous.
I'm willing to keep climbing and lower myself if anything horrible happens.
All right.
okay.
All right. So I just bang away at this a couple times, hey?
Okay.
Sure.
Well, one at a time because he's got to give you results.
All right.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think I'll add my die 6 to that.
Okay, so you get about 20 foot up.
Wait,
Oh,
wait.
Wait.
I'm adding my die
He's
6,
using
right?
an inspiration. Okay.
Bardic inspiration.
Okay. It's,
So it's a 9.
That's
Yeah,
still
so you
terrible.
get about 10 foot up, and you stick the second pit in, and you hit that. That's fine. And you move up another 10 feet, and you go to hit the third pit in, and you hit it so hard it shatters. So you try again with a fourth pin, and it seems fine. And as you reach up to grab it, you kind of lose your footing on the second one, sorry, and you fall about 20 feet to the ground.
How dangerous is a 20-foot drop?
Oh, so the ropes, I'm not tying off to the pittons and around myself?
Is that what you want to do?
Yeah. I'm not
Yeah,
standing
that's
on
fine.
the
Okay.
ladder.
So then,
Each time I climb to a new spot, I sink a
that's
pitten
okay.
and then tie myself off to the highest one.
Okay, so the three of you see Thaddeus reach for his third pin, and he misses, and his foot slips, and you now see a dangling dwarf from like his chest. You know how when people dangle, their hands and their legs kind of flop downwards, as if he was being pulled from the chest upwards. He's kind of like just sort of dangling from a pit, and 10 feet above you.
doing
Well,
good, Thaddeus.
Well, I told you not to fall, Thaddeus, so keep trying.
Almost there.
Oh man, I love this. It's basically he just keeps rolling and keeps rolling, and if he falls like 6 times, who cares? He just keeps on going.
That's how rock climbing works.
I think this
Like
may
a
not be
conqueror.
as wise as it originally seemed.
No, Thaddeus, I think you got this.
All right, can I regain my grip on the wall and try again?
He's kind of like an upside down beetle right now. He might. You think it might take some sort of skill to right himself? I mean, it's hard hanging upside down from a rope.
Are you?
Sure.
Are you
You probably have to do like an acrobatics to like roll yourself and turn to grab the wall.
You know what, Filthy?
It just dawned on me how meat-headed of a party we're being right now.
Totally like.
Our path. Let's just try to beat our head into it until we get through it.
I
Well-
think this is nonsense.
You could also ask your companions for assistance.
You want me to cut the rope, Thaddeus?
No, I think I've got this. Thanks for your suggestion. I'll just right myself and climb back down.
Okay, so you see Thaddeus doing that classic thing that people do, where they kind of like, in the video games where you swing yourself backwards and swing yourself forwards and swing yourself backwards and swing yourself forwards. And he's trying to sort of turn himself whilst doing this. Mm-hmm. And in a strange dwarven way, it looks kind of majestic as he does it in one swoop and immediately grabs the wall and then just very calmly and casually climbs back down.
All right.
That was beautiful, Thaddeus, but this is the ground. The top's up there.
I got disoriented. Never mind.
All right.
For fuck's sake.
All right, guys. Unfortunately, this is probably where our agreed upon time is over for today. And I know, Kevin, you got to get going today. So, gentlemen, thank you very much for being here today and starting us off and bearing with us for the technical details for all of you at home as well as us here. And hopefully we'll have more of that resolved next time. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you guys soon.